everyone. Welcome to the 45 Minutes to Ledger podcast. This is Dan tonight, solo. Um, Russ is off camping. Pete's on sabbatical until football officially starts. And me by myself, running adrift. So we got the pro football starting up next week, a week from today, next Thursday. The excitement builds. Next Wednesday we'll have our football bonanza podcast. We'll have over-unders, our picks for to win the conference, the Super Bowl, and we'll have our first week pick. So the football bonanza will be starting soon. Pro football, just around the corner. Fantasy drafts. Russ had a fantasy draft against children. Last night he was telling Pete and I about. We can see if he can beat the kids. Pete had an old man fantasy draft. So the fantasy, I stay away from fantasy. I prefer my action on the field. And the dollars and cents. No fantasy here. The Jets are supposed to have been picked to win the AFC East this season over the Bills. It is amazing. They are loaded. The Jets are loaded this year, and as long as their quarterback can stay upright, and as long as their coach isn't a moron. And me personally, I know Russ is completely optimistic. I have a little pessimism in me that those two factors may affect the season. We'll see if he lasts, and we'll see. I don't believe the coach is good enough for what is needed this year. But all that, everyone starts off with the same record here. We're all going to the Super Bowl. I think we're going to have an excellent season. I think the Jets will make the playoffs this year. I think Rodgers will be around enough that won't be an issue. I expect big things. Russ and I, a couple weeks ago, with Pete going over the schedule, we're predicting a 12-3 season. And with the holdouts going on with the 49ers, Russ and I both thought the first game might be a loss, but there's some holdouts going on with the 49ers that can sway the first game in our direction. Not be confused with the Jets' own holdouts, but I think they can be overcome more than the 49ers. So it could be a good start, but we'll have all the pro football going on next week, and the excitement builds. The excitement builds for next Thursday, and see if the Chefs can go and do another repeat. I don't know if they have enough offense, but we'll see. We'll see. They had to pay a lot of people this year, and to keep them all in line. So we'll see if they can get them. But next Thursday, the Chiefs will be hosting the Ravens and starting off with a real good game. Both are powerhouses in the AFC. So exciting. But this week is the start of the college football season. There was a couple of games last weekend for people who enjoy college football. I have a tough time getting into it. I spend so much of my weekend on Sundays involved with pro football that it's hard to be involved with both and still have children that play sports. So I can't stay as into it with college football, but the college football does begin last Saturday. The only big game of any notice is number 10 Florida State lost to Georgia Tech. What that means is I don't know, but I guess Florida State was hoping to have a big year. Currently, as I'm speaking, Coach Prime in Colorado is losing at home to North Dakota State. And we'll see what that hype train is like. Last year was a big roller coaster for Colorado and Coach Prime, from the highs of highs to finishing at the lows of lows. So we'll see where that all goes to. It's I don't know. Last year I kind of got caught up in the Coach Prime hype train, and I was rudely that train derailed hard. And plus with the Jets derailment too, it was it was a little rough on the football side. So I'm doing my best not to be caught up in the hype. But and right now Colorado is getting all they can handle from North Dakota State. Other big action on Saturday. Number 1 Georgia is hosting number 14 Clemson at noon. Number 8 Penn State's at West Virginia. Number 7 Notre Dame's at Texas A&M in the evening. And also in the evening, number 23, the new member of the Big Ten, USC, is at number 13 LSU. And for everyone, just get prepared for the new conference alignment. There's a bunch of teams in different spots, and there's pretty much 4 mega conferences now. The SEC is pretty much the same as it's been, but the Big Ten has become the Big 18, if I count it right, with the additions of UCLA, USC, Oregon, and Washington. The ACC picked up Stanford and California, so they're now this major conference. And lastly, the Big 12 has turned into the Big 16, picking up, before, like I said, Colorado, but a lot of the other big teams that are left. And to the surprise of many in the state of Connecticut, UCONN football is in some negotiation to be the 17th member to join the Big 12. And let me speak on that. Is that it's unbelievable that UCONN is going back down the football road. They tried to do it 20 years ago, trying to go this route, left the Big East, had some fake victory in making it into the college playoffs when they were in the American Football Conference. But that has been a long time ago. The team has been picked to be the worst team in Division I. And there's nothing about this that they should be worried about football. They have everything so perfect otherwise in the Big East, and that they're back searching to go through the football Alice in Wonderland hole. That we're going to try this again. Play most of our games in the Midwest. It's just a fantasy that they see the money football can bring, but it's just not going to work again. And it's going to hurt the basketball team again. The basketball team is the best men's basketball team in the country. It's the best program, without a doubt. The women's basketball team is excellent, and they're top 5. And all this is just going to hurt again. The basketball program, and it's just going to be another disaster. It's going to be a disaster. The stadium is terrible. The stadium is not close to the campus. There's no juice there. None of the students make the drive. The stadium is in the East Hartford, and it's a 40-minute drive from stores. No one's gonna ride a bus. There's no juice. There's no juice there. Could they have juice? Some juice if, let's say, Colorado came in with Coach Prime or some other more major Big 12 team. But yeah, are they ready for prime time? I don't know. I don't. I think it's just gonna be another disaster, and I honestly don't know what they can get out of football except just trying to be a hanger on. Them going to the Big 12 is just a logistics nightmare. Just looking at all the different teams in the Big 12, that is just a nightmare. If they could go anywhere, and you wish it would work out, but it won't, is the ACC, but that'll never happen. Boston College will never let them into the ACC. If people do not remember, UCONN, the state of Connecticut, sued Boston College when they left. Boston College left the Big East, and that lawsuit is still remembered up in Boston. So they'll never get into the ACC, which is probably has always been the best spot for them, where they can play other basketball powers, and the logistics is not terrible. They can be in the same conference as Boston College and Syracuse, and that's where it all makes sense. But that will never happen. We can thank our good friend Senator Blumenthal when he was the state's attorney general for coming up with that lawsuit, and its effects some 25 years later are still felt. So if you want to know why UConn football is never going to be anything, you can ask. It has its effect from Boston College and keeping UConn out of the ACC. There was UConn hoped a decade or so ago that they were going to go to Big Ten. They lost out to Rutgers. The Big Ten schools they had choice between the two to have a New York market, but the rumor has always been that the Big Ten schools didn't want to take in UConn because they didn't want to get dominated on the basketball court. They wanted someone to come in and bring them to the New York market, but not dominate or immediately dominate the league. At the time, Rutgers went in, UConn was riding a high then, and from that moment, when they didn't get into the Big Ten, they were a downer until they went back to the Big East. But no, it's I don't know. It's just the college presidents to see these TV contracts and see all that money, and want to do desperate things to get in touch with it. It's just, I don't think they all realize that they see the revenue. I don't think they see what's coming in. Maybe they do in the liabilities, the what they have to now pay out in NAL and those type of deals, and run that part. They so much see the revenue part, and they never had to worry about paying the players. That they may get a ton of revenue, but on the back end, if you want to be good and get all these players to come in, you have to negotiate with these players, and they don't come for cheap. If you want to go up and try to challenge these big schools, and especially if these big schools you're going up against are football heavy, where the entire athletic department is more towards football, then let's just say UConn would be basketball dominant too. There's a lot of costs now, more because of having to pay the players. So that is that's college football and the UConn fantasy of getting into a big football league. Let me just take a quick look at. Let's see how Coach Prime is doing quickly. Last time I looked, he was in the. They were losing 17-10 to North Dakota State. You can't make it up. I don't know. The hype train there is. I don't know. North Dakota State's up 20-14 now. I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. Yeah, I'll try to watch some highlights, but man, if Coach Prime at home can't beat North Dakota State, it's gonna be another long year, and I don't know. I don't know if he can survive a beat up year. I don't think his ego can take it, and I think all of his nonsense. I shouldn't say nonsense. All of his extracurricular is the best way to say it. Is not gonna go over well if they're not winning, and they're gonna be in the Big 12 this year, so they're not gonna. The competition should be slightly less than what they had to deal in the Pac-12, and they should have more victories, but we'll see. We'll see. This team is not firing at all cylinders. Coach Prime in Colorado was favored by 10.5 points. And if you do, one last thing before I sign off. If you want to chuckle and you are looking at the new conferences, and you're seeing all these teams in different spots, and then you noticed the Pac-12, and you go, "Oh, who's in the Pac-12 still? Who's still there?" And then you notice that there's just two teams. You're like, "What the heck's going on?" And it's Oregon State and Washington State are the Pac-12 now. It's the Pac-2. And they didn't find a home. And it's just, it's just funny that the mighty Pac-12 is down to two of their lesser teams. I'm looking up Oregon State right now. Who are they playing? They're playing Idaho State, San Diego State. They're playing Oregon, Purdue, Colorado State, Nevada, and UNLV. They are playing California. San Jose State. Oh, damn. Air Force, Washington State, and then Boise State. I don't know why they don't play Washington State home and away, since it's their only two. I don't know for sure, but it seems like right now Oregon State's playing a Mountain West type schedule, and I got a feeling if they're not already heading that way, that's where they'll end up. But thank you all for listening to the podcast. Please also follow on YouTube. Subscribe. It helps the channel greatly. Like I said, next Wednesday we'll have our NFL spectacular. Russ and Pete will be in the building. So it'll be a great time. So thank you all for listening to the podcast. Follow us on X and have a good night.